Welcome back. It's time now for Medical Moments with Covenant Healthcare. Today we're talking about preparing for fall sports. With me here today is Wendy Yavorsky. She's the Injury Prevention Specialist at Covenant Healthcare. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Now, spring is finally here, but a lot of athletes are preparing for fall sports, but that's when a lot of injuries tend to happen, right?
They do.
Tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, during sports play, unfortunately, we interact with a lot of concussions happen. So we want to make sure that we're reinforcing to kids that, especially in high school sports, that they're telling their coaches when they're having injuries and telling them signs and symptoms that they're having, because we don't want them to continue to play when they have a concussion.
Right. And speaking of those signs and symptoms, what are some of those for concussions?
Well, a concussion is a disturbance in brain function, and when you have, it's like caused by a hit or a jolt to the head or violent shaking to the head. And like I said, you don't necessarily have to be hit to get a concussion or struck in the head. Some of the symptoms that you would have with that would be nausea, you would have a headache, you could have some dizziness, you could have some visual disturbances with that as well. You know, if somebody, like sleep disturbances, are they sleeping too much? They're not sleeping enough? Are they being forgetful? Are they showing up late to appointments? Are they not completing homework? That type of thing.
Wow, and these are all things that, you know, they may not think is a problem, but it actually is. Now let's talk about impact testing. Tell us what that is and why it is super important for athletes to take.
Well, impact testing is a service that Covenant is offering to high schools and to those individuals that interact with sports. And what it is an immediate post assessment of cognitive test. It's a computerized test. Basically, you get it tests visual, spatial, your reaction times, and whether or not your memory. So it's going to tell us basically your baseline assessment. So you take it before you start practices, you take it before you start, you know, doing the bodily functions, running around and hitting and that sort of thing.
All that fun stuff.
Yeah. But you get your baseline assessment first, and then if you were to have a concussion, then you get your post-assessment. And it's a tool to help healthcare providers return to play, to help the student return to play quicker. So they can compare the baseline test with the post test.
That's great that you do the pre-test, and then if someone was to get a concussion, they have the post-test as well. Very helpful.
Yes.
Now, tell us how much this testing costs.
This testing is actually free, and it's provided by Covenant Healthcare. You know, we purchased so many tests in the beginning of the year, and we want to do a community service and make sure that we're providing this to the community so they can provide health awareness and protection for their students.
Wow, that is amazing. What are some other ways that Covenant helps athletes and local sports teams?
Well, we have a Covenant Injury Prevention Program. So, again, we go out and talk about concussion. We talk about suicide awareness. We talk about bullying, stop the bleed. We go out to the communities to do that as well. So if any schools or communities are interested in having safe talk or impact testing done at their school, they just need to contact the Covenant Injury Prevention Program, and we can provide that for them free.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
If you would like any additional information today on the topic, just head on over to the Hot Links page on WNEM.com.